it's normal for people to ask, now that my grandson is wrestling, how we're going to do it. And I've talked with my son-in-law, obviously, as well. And we're both pretty much on the same page. Number one, we want to make sure he likes it. So he just started. We're having fun. He does jiu-jitsu and wrestling. He just turned 5. And if my grandson doesn't like wrestling, he's not going to do it. My granddaughter as well. Because at the end of the day, if they don't like to do it, then find something that they enjoy. But so far he seems to like it. We're having fun. But the most important things there's a few items here. Number one, we're going to focus on the core skills, really mastering the common positions, right? For example, you're going to get about 4 front headlocks a match. Your opponent's going to stand up to their feet about 3 times a match. I counted all this out 25 years ago when I developed our online wrestling academy. So we're going to teach in phases, order of importance. So we have our basics phase, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. You're just going to learn the online wrestling academy, basically. But we're going to also focus on wrestling, holding position and wrestling in sprints. We always like to say, and I get beat up on social media every time I post this, and I keep posting it because I'm right. It's better to win 3-0 than 16-13. It's better to win 16-0. I get it. But I would rather win 1-0 than 13-12. If there's 25 points scored in the match, the wrestling fan who really doesn't appreciate good wrestling, they like it. It's kind of like baseball, right? Do you want to watch T-ball where it's 97-84? I don't, but some people do. Some people like to watch wrestling like that too, and that's okay. If that works for you, keep doing it. But, what's built our wrestling company is winning and being the masters at winning close matches, not the masters at having close matches. We don't want close matches, but hey, you know what? If the famous Olympians have close matches, we're probably going to have a few too. So position-based wrestling and scoring in sprints and flurries. We're going to focus on making it a fun journey versus a scary journey, right? There's a phrase called being a happy warrior. And another phrase, blissful dissatisfaction. It never ends because behind mountains are mountains. Every time you knock down a goal or a hurdle, there's another one. It never ends. Competition never ends for some of us, right? So we want to teach it as, a fun adventure and a fun journey. We're trying, but not a scary mountain to climb, okay? Because this is not life or death. And that leads me into the important thing. And we talk about this a lot. I don't even know where it's at. Yeah. In this, we have our book. A big part of this is our perspective. When you have a good, healthy perspective, you realize that it is not life or death that we're dealing with. It's not. We want to win so bad, but we just have to have faith that as long as I'm focusing on the ABCs of what I need to do to get better and wrestle and not have these emotional swings and emotional reactions, then we can have a healthy relationship with our career. And, as they say, if you do not fear the unknown, the unknown will be kind to you. I truly believe that. So that comes down to just having a healthy perspective. And you have to have faith that it's going to work out. If you didn't have faith that it wasn't going to work out, then we need to make some changes, right? But sometimes we self-sabotage because we want to win so bad, and then we self-destruct because we get kind of all bottled up with fear and anxiety. So perspective is a big part of it, and we've been talking about this for decades. And, we're going to make sure that my grandkids have a healthy mental game. They have to have a healthy relationship with competing. And so, they're going to be prepared, not just technically, but also as far as perspective and outlook and basic, the mental health side of it, I guess you could say. And, my grandkids, just like a lot of kids out there, they may not even care about wrestling that much, but they still may want to do it, right? And that's okay too. But generally, I knew a famous sports psychologist. He said the most successful athletes are the least happy, and he's trying to change that. And so sometimes it's the more serious of us that tend to not do so well. So we're going to make sure that we spend a lot of time on that side of it. As my grandkids get older, they're going to be in shape for the sport, right? I do think that sometimes we're so busy doing wrestling like a maniac 4 months a year. Then we're doing baseball like a maniac. And yes, my grandkids are going to do other sports. They're not going to specialize in wrestling. As they get older, if they want to, they can. But so often we go from select wrestling to select baseball to select soccer. Then we're trying to do other stuff. And there are kids who get into high school, they've never lifted a weight before. They didn't have time. So that's the reason we like to say, as you get older, as you're younger, they don't need to do, traveling the nation like a rock star 12 months a year, parents spending 30 grand a year on baseball, soccer, football, wrestling, and all these other sports. So just do some basic baseball for fun. And as we get older, maybe some kids will become football players, and some will quit wrestling, and some will focus on gymnastics, and that's all part of the journey. But I think sometimes we think we need to do these super extreme approaches before the athlete even knows if they want to do it, and the parent gets burned out. They run out of money, obviously, but also the kids don't have time to ever get into a weight room. And then there's injuries, and so either way, I do think that as kids get older, learning and developing their athleticism is important. And no, I'm not saying 3 hours a day, 6 days a week in some CrossFit gym. Just basic strength and endurance training, I think, is very much overlooked. And you see a lot of these high school kids competing with the men. Guess what? They're doing that because of a lot of reasons, but one of them is they're not physically. A 32-year-old man should be able to take a 17, 18-year-old boy and throw him down and pin him, but they can't do that. So, I do think that the strength and endurance and conditioning side of sports is very important and very much overlooked. And lastly, focus on training over competing. We try to compete so much, and you have to compete, obviously. That's what we want to do. But what happens is we never really rest our nervous system. And I think it's best to say, okay, maybe in youth wrestling, we're going to Tulsa Nationals in 3 months. What's our practice plans and what's our competition schedule look like as we end on that destination? Or if it's high school, it's high school state. Maybe it's junior nationals or high school nationals or Super 32. Maybe it's the fall and you have Super 32s coming up. And we have 2 months and we're going to pick maybe a couple tournaments. We have a couple of training camps. We have some days off. And so it's best to find a target and hit that target. What's the next target? What's our pathway? Hit that. So just some good common sense and focusing on training and even some rest over competing every single weekend. So there's a few talking points that I wanted to share with everybody, just in case you're interested. But either way, we wish you tremendous success. Share this with 5 others, and we appreciate you following us.